Hello friends, and welcome to How Compassion Can Help Us Live Our Dreams. A little bit about me. My name is Giselle Taraba and I have over 20 years experience in leadership. I'm also co-owner of My Tree Center for Love and Compassion. I also have several degrees. Lastly, I am the host of the Love and Compassion podcast with Giselle. I want to actually begin with a grounding exercise to help us be in the here and now. When our thoughts are so busy and our head is like full of negativity and worry, it makes it difficult for us to really absorb what we're learning. And so in order for you to get the most out of this experience, I want to start with a grounding exercise. What I want you to do is to put your hand on your heart or another soothing place. And you can close your eyes if you want. Put all of your attention on your heart. So put your focus and attention down here. And after you've done that, I want you to breathe in and out for a count of 3. So breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And the beauty of this exercise is that it helps us shift our perspective. I've used this exercise when I wanted to look at things in a different way. And so rather than looking with my physical eyes, I look at things from my heart and I see things from a new perspective. So why compassion? Most of us are unaware that we are making ourselves suffer every single day with our negative thinking and our fear-based thinking. We don't realize that it's ourselves that are making us suffer. So I want you to take this moment to do an awareness exercise. I want you to really think about, are your thoughts mostly positive or negatively based? What stories do you tell yourself about your ability to live your dreams? Do any of these stories have to do with your ability to see yourself living your dream? Do they have anything to do with your feelings of self-worth or value? The worth of your offerings, for example. Now, after you've done this exercise, I want you to think about whether you would treat your very best friend or a loved one, maybe your child, the same way. Would you share those same thoughts with them? Would you tell them to give up their dreams, to limit themselves to what's safe? Most often what I hear is that people say no to that question. They treat their friends much better than they treat themselves. Sometimes I get people that say, but wait, things are bad. We are inundated with bad news everywhere. How bad things are about the economy and the war. And if you listen to the news, you will feel very afraid. So it's a very commonplace reaction. But this is not the path to freedom. And in fact, I want to invite you to consider that right now in this reality, there are people that are having a horrible time and there are people that are having a great life living their dreams. And the difference between these two groups is perspective. More so than ever, we're coming to the understanding and the knowledge that our beliefs and our thoughts create our reality. For those of us that may have experienced trauma from childhood experiences, we often re-traumatize ourselves with our ongoing thinking by reliving the experiences and by resisting the emotions that we experience. By shifting our perspective, we can open up ourselves to new potentialities, open up to healing, to new opportunities, and to live our dreams. Warren Buffett is a perfect example of this. He was giving a presentation to a group of people that wanted to be billionaires, and one of the things he said was, when people act in fear, I go the opposite way. When there's a recession and people leave the market, he pauses and he looks for the opportunity and he usually goes the other way. But you may be asking, well, what does this have to do with compassion? Before I tell you that, we should define compassion. Most of the compassion literature really talks about compassion with a focus on suffering. So it's the awareness of suffering and the desire to move towards suffering. The reason why we struggle with that definition is because the focus is on suffering. And where we put our attention is where we put our energy. And so if we're trying to fight against suffering, or we're trying to destroy suffering or get away from suffering, we only generate more suffering. So compassion for us is allowing all things to be, and then choosing our ideal with love and kindness for ourselves and others. And this definition involves curiosity instead of judgment, and allowance instead of resistance, as well as courage, the courage to live our dreams when we don't see the reality or when people are not always being so supportive. Our inner dialogue in that case is supportive and loving and kind, rather than critical and harsh and comparative. Like, oh, look at Mary, she's doing so good. So we're constantly treating ourselves like our very own best friend. But why don't we act this way? Part of it has to do with the fact that there's a lot of myths and misunderstandings about what compassion really is. If you grew up, with parents that were harsh, they will have said that practicing self-compassion and being kind to yourself and being loving to yourself and supportive was indulgent and narcissistic and unmotivating. But none of this is true at all. In fact, the more compassionate you are towards yourself, the more you have to give to others. You can give to others from your overflow, not from your reserves. It's important to put your own oxygen mask on first, and that's why they say that in the plane. And so we've grown up with these stories, these ideas, these perspectives that we have adopted as our own, and sort of and defined our lives based on these stories. The other thing that I have found too in working with people is that a lot of the barriers to even practicing self-compassion have to do with a lack of self-love or self-worth. I'm not worthy to do this. I'm not worthy to be kind to myself and motivate myself with enthusiasm and love and passion rather than harshness or criticism. So now I want to give you an example. I want to introduce you to Mary. Mary wants to be a life coach, and her dream is to travel the world and be an online coach for different groups of people. But currently she works in an office. So when she comes to talk to me and I ask her, okay, what's preventing you from living your dreams? She gives me 101 reasons why her dream's not going to work. The economy, there's too many coaches out there. I don't have the certification. My parents said that it's a stupid idea. I really should just keep my accounting job. So there's 101 reasons why it can never happen. But then we introduce Mary to compassion. So I start to work with Mary and examine some of the beliefs that she's holding. And I help her realize that beliefs are just thoughts we keep thinking. And then over time, they create habits and then create identity. So Mary had this identity that she was a victim of circumstance, that she was not capable, that she was not worthy of living her dreams, that what she had to offer was not of value and people wouldn't have valued it. And so we uncovered some of those core beliefs by doing exercises that enabled her to tap into that love and compassion within. And this isn't about, digging for those beliefs. The more love and compassion you give yourself, the more they will come up to be healed. It's sort of like the voice you give yourself. You say, oh, I'm lovable. And, you'll say to yourself, who are you kidding? So that's a core belief. And so you don't really have to go digging. The more that you shine a light to these things, the more that they will come up. And so I worked with Mary to help her find her compassionate voice, her voice that helps her motivate herself. And it's about not judging our thoughts as they come up, but treating them with curiosity. I wonder why I'm feeling this way. What's the payoff in me feeling this way? Well, it keeps me small and it keeps me safe. And so as we embrace greater curiosity, we can release some of that resistance, and then we can move forward towards our dreams. I should also say, one thing that I forgot to mention was that if what motivated you to come to this talk was about being compassionate to other people, all compassion is self-compassion. Everything starts and ends with the self. You cannot be compassionate towards others unless you're able to do that for yourself. Some of the most critical and harshest people that I have met actually really lack self-compassion and self-love. A lot of the other people considered bullies, when in speaking with them, their perspective of themselves is one of victimhood, which is why punishment doesn't work, because they perceive themselves as victims, and it only helps them re-identify that way. And so all compassion is self-compassion. So now I want to give you a little exercise that you can try yourself every day when you're having a challenging time, in order to give yourself what you need in the moment. And I will also share how this exercise helped me in my own experiences with other people. So we'll start by practicing something called the self-compassion bake. So I want you to put your hand on your heart or another soothing place. And I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to breathe in and out 3 times. So number 1. 2. And 3. I want you to think of a circumstance which you found challenging. So something that was kind of a nuisance or annoying. It shouldn't be something that is like a 10, like a big trauma, because you will get so triggered that you'll actually exit the meditation. But the more you practice this over time, the easier it'll be to handle more challenging stuff. Think of something that you would consider a 3. It might be an argument you had with someone, or a challenging time you faced. Now think about what happened in that moment. Who was there? What were some of the circumstances you faced? Now allow the emotions to come up. Now say to yourself, this is hard, this hurts, or this is challenging. I'm not alone in my challenge. A lot of people are being challenged right now. Now ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? What do I need in this moment? Do I need a hug? Do I need to feel loved and valued? Do I need to feel worthy? Once you determine what you need in this moment, I want you to give it to yourself. You can do this in the form of an affirmation. So if you're looking for peace, you will say, I am peace. If you're having a hard time determining what you need, you can just listen to me say some affirmations. I am peace. I am happy. I am healthy. I'm loved. I am peace. I am happy. I am healthy. I am loved. I am peace. I am happy. I am healthy. I am loved. I am peace. I am happy. I am healthy. I am loved. Now keep repeating these affirmations to yourself until you feel the feelings of stress just release. Once you're ready to let go of the practice, you can bring your focus back into your heart, and you can end the meditation by breathing in and out 3 times. And you can open your eyes. Now, some of the people I've worked with struggle with the affirmations. They may struggle believing it. So if you say, I am peace, and they're like, are you kidding me? I'm probably the least peaceful person I know. And in that case, what I recommend is that they say, I am willing. I am willing to be peace. I'm willing to be happy. I'm willing to be abundant. I'm willing to be healthy. And so that releases some of that resistance and enable the universe to help you take the next step that will get you closer to that goal. I did want to give the example of how this exercise has helped me. So I was working with an individual, and I was a new manager at the time, and I was eager to help out and give ideas. And every time I would give an idea, this person met it with defensiveness and anger and frustration. And over time, the more conflicts we had, the more I kind of sunk into the belief that I was a victim, that this person was annoying and I just wished it would go away, or I made up my own reasons as to why they were unwilling to change or unwilling to listen to my perspective. But thank goodness I was already a student of compassion. And so I realized that I had no control over how the other person felt or how they reacted, but I could control what I felt and how I reacted. And so I took a moment to really use this break in order to give myself what I needed in the moment. And what I realized was that every time I met with a defensiveness, I was feeling not valued by my contribution, especially since I was new. And so the more I reminded myself of how valuable my contribution was, and that's why I had actually gotten promoted, I was able to release my resistance to this person's perspective and get more curious about why they were having a hard time with my feedback and then I learned that the person was also feeling very threatened, and they were also not feeling valued, and we were able to have a conversation about that. So practicing self-compassion enabled me to be more compassionate towards another human being. So we hope you enjoyed my presentation. And if you'd like to work with us one-on-one, please do not hesitate to reach out at info@maitrecenter.com. We do one-on-one coaching as well as workshops. We also offer free meditations online as well as have our own podcast. Thank you so much for taking this time out to be with us. We are so grateful for you and wish you endless abundance, joy, and love.